I had got out. I was 17, and I came out of the subway, and brother was handing out flyers, and I saw the word Shabazz, and so I said, all right, let me go. So it was on a Wednesday at the Fort Greene Senior Citizen Center, and I went into the mosque, and I heard Kevin Muhammad, and at the time, I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, well, this stuff sounds similar to what we teaching, so these brothers, they got something here. You know what I'm saying? And
I want to be clear. So this is, and what year was this?
This is in '93. This is in '93.
This is early.
This is right after the Savior's Day, because Farrakhan was talking about Malcolm X during that Savior's Day, and he was talking about how they cut open Malcolm X's body, the coroner, and said he had the cleanest body ever. I remember that. You know what I mean?
I remember that.
Yeah, and that's how I correlate the time.
This is early in your growth and development.
Yeah, this is early in my growth and development.
And you're basically saying like you kind of had or were a Muslim guard, or not that you weren't a Muslim guard, but you kind of...
I had an affinity toward the Nation of Islam. I mean, I actually, when I was 17 years old, I got, math when I was like 13 and 14, but I never really got into studying it like that, like I should have. And then I got a hold of Elijah Muhammad's Message to the Black Man at 16. So I'm walking around with it, and I run into a brother who basically started, teaching me lessons after seeing me with the book. So, that it was in my subconscious to have that affinity toward the mosque. And a brother invited me to come out, and I go out on a Wednesday, and at the end they allowed people to ask questions, and a lady stood up and asked Minister Kevin, who's Minister Hafiz now, what's the difference between, she said her son was a 5%er, and it seemed like y'all teach the same thing, what's the difference? And he started going into basically how the 5%ers were moonlight, and the Nation of Islam was sunlight, and he started going into like, the discipline, how, the brothers, they're more disciplined in the mosque than we were out in the streets. And what he was saying resonated with me at the time, because, I'm young. So I'm really like, and one thing I remember he stuck with me, it used to be like a common sales pitch of the Muslims was that, y'all got 120, but there's more lessons, brother. You gotta come in the mosque to get the lessons, the rest of the lessons. So when I heard that, me being a studious person, I'm like, oh shit, there's more lessons. So at the end, I didn't know.
You didn't know 120 at the time.
Nah, I didn't know 120 at the time. Not at all. I actually had the 1 to 10s on cap, and some of the 1 to 14s. I didn't have the 1 to 36 at the time. I had the 1 to 14s first. And I go in there, and I'm sitting there like, oh, this is where the lessons came out of, and they got more lessons. I want to know about this. So at the end of the speech, they were like, who wants to help the black nation? And I had been into like, I've been politically a black nationalist since I was as long as I can remember. I was open about it at 12, but from before that, my family was kind of like really, really pro-black, so I went my way to a nationalism. And they was like, who want to help the black nation? And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to help the black nation. So I raised my hand, and they were like, well, fill this card out. And I remember I looked at the card, I asked you what talents you had, if you belonged to any businesses, you own businesses or anything like that. And then I signed it. They took me in the back and was like, yo, brother, before this, Kevin Muhammad stood me up and made a big deal about me standing up to join. And I really didn't even know I was joining. I thought I was I'm helping the black nation. We're going to do some work, some community work or something. And he was like, yeah, he made a big speech about how he was 17 when he joined, and he was the youngest minister under Farrakhan, and he was like, it's good that a young brother can make this decision. So being young, you feeling good, you feeling pumped up. So they like, yo, come to the FOI class. And I went to FOI class. It was on Thursdays in these days. It wasn't on Monday like it's now. This is back when it was on Thursdays. And I'm in the class, and it was brother Nelson. He was a light-skinned brother. He used to have a scar and hazel eyes. He was locked up with the guards. He had a lot of respect for the guards, so he came over and started building with me a lot. And he gave me some pills that actually clinked out my system, with some herbal pills or whatever. But while they were building, I heard one of the brothers say something like, I forgot exactly what he said, but he made mention of Allah as being something other than himself. And before I even had knowledge of self, I kind of was dissatisfied with religion, because I didn't believe in no mystery God. So when I heard that, I just kind of got confused, because when I was in the mosque listening to Kevin, he was like, yeah, we God, but now these cats was like, well, kind of, not really. Let me put you on. So when he says it, he's on my right, and we're standing up doing drills, and I kind of cut my eye and look at him, and he was like, look ahead, soldier. Keep your eyes on the back of that man's head. And he just screams on me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right. And then he had me drop and do push-ups, and I did push-ups and shit, and quoting the knowledge degree, which, you know, was different from theirs at the time. So, while I was doing push-ups, they had me quote the knowledge degree in a 1 to 10.
On a 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And what was different was that it didn't have father civilization.
Indeed. But then nobody ever said anything, so I didn't know any difference. I just quoted it, you know what I mean? And I did my push-ups, looked ahead, and then some brothers drove me back, and we were all in the car. I was 17, so I'm coming home. The class lasted late, you know, back in those days. It was like, whatever time it started, it might have been 11 or 12 when we were leaving, but I think it started like 7 or 8. So brothers driving me back from Harlem to Brooklyn, and I'm in there with some brothers. One was a Dr. York cat, another cat, and it was 2 FOIs. And the Dr. York cat was coming in, so they're all building, I'm listening. And in the car, I remember just thinking like, yo, I don't think I made the right choice. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say nothing because I felt the righteousness is something I was always looking for. Brothers, black men who you could look up to, who didn't smoke, who didn't drink, you know, who weren't chasing women, you know what I mean? So as a 17-year-old, I was like, okay, I'm drawn to the discipline, but I couldn't reconcile the teachings, you know what I mean? So I go to the study group on a Friday, and this is again in the Fort Greene Senior Citizen Center, and we sitting in a circle. And, you know, it was a lady, a sister. I remember she had the white veil. I don't remember her name, but I remember how she looked, light-skinned sister. And I just asked her, I was like, yo, like, do y'all pray to Farad? Because you start with prayer and you end with prayer, but then you say we God, like, who you praying to? And she was like, yes, we pray to Farad. Facts, you know what I mean? She said that. And I was like, all right, well, you know, I asked her 2 things. One, he could hear everybody's prayer at once. She said yes. And then 2 was, where is he if we pray to him? And she said he was in a spaceship. You know what I mean? And that's when she described the mother plane to me. And I hadn't read the entire Message to the Black Man, so that was kind of like extra spooky to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, so at that point, it was just like I'm listening, and all I'm thinking about, you know what I'm saying, for one, you know, they had just confiscated my knife and some other things. You know what I'm saying? Because I walked in there with some stuff on me. So I'm thinking about, and they threw my stuff away, and I want to get out of here. So I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm listening to her, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I can't deal with it. And I just got up and walked out of the study group, and that's when I hit the guard up and was like, yeah, I need to understand. Nah, actually, I hit Freedom up at this time. I didn't meet Universal until like a couple of months later.
If Mega did this.
Peace. In celebration of each other, we support each other's hustle. Weight Life has sponsored this content. You can get a sweatshirt, t-shirt, or a hoodie at the Common Unity store of a law school in Mecca. Or just simply hit me up. I got the hookup. Peace.